Welcome back. All right, today's career video, we're going to take a look at a former NHL player, current announcer for National Hockey League games for the Colorado Avalanche. And he's been a Colorado Avalanche broadcaster right from the start, I do believe, and it's Peter McNab, a former player whose career won't get him into the Hockey Hall of Fame, but the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame is pretty good too. And not too bad for a guy who wasn't picked until the 85th draft choice in 1972 by the Buffalo Sabres. And he's Vancouver born, but he did go to university in the U.S. And so, yeah, he is definitely one of those guys who I understand why he'd be in the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame. He did start out with the Sabres in 73-74. Plays 22 games that year, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points. So there's no real indication of a star player here. 74-75, 53 games, 22 goals, 21 assists, 43 points. Pretty good. In 17 playoff games, in a year where Buffalo gets to the Stanley Cup final, he ends up with 2 goals, 6 assists for 8 points. And he led the league in shooting percentage at 24.2%. Well, when a guy leads the league in shooting percentage, you can bet that that's going to come down the following year. Usually, a guy with a really high shooting percentage, there's maybe a little bit of luck involved, some good fortune along the way, and so you'll normally see the shooting percentages come down. It's just like when a guy has a really poor shooting percentage in one season, very often it'll come up the next, especially if he's a star player. You can look at that as an off year. So the following season, his last in Buffalo, 75-76, 79 games, 24 goals, 32 assists, 56 points. So he plays 26 more games and only gets 2 more goals. And in 8 playoff games, no points. So he is traded by the Buffalo Sabres in what is seen as one of the most brilliant moves by the Boston Bruins of the time, and one of the worst moves by the Buffalo Sabres for Andre Savard. And Andre Savard had a decent career, was a good player, but Peter McNab in Boston, it just worked. And Peter McNab has talked since being named to the Hall of Fame about how special that time in Boston was, how they were a family, and how everybody looked out for each other on that team. And they were close to Stanley Cups while he was there, but they didn't win a Stanley Cup while he was there. So 76-77, he plays 80 games for Boston, 38 goals, which was 8th in the NHL, 48 assists for 86 points. In the playoffs, 14 games, 5 goals, and 3 assists. And that's the year he plays in the All-Star game. It's his only appearance in the NHL All-Star game. 77-78, plays 79 games. He's 7th in the league in goal scoring with 41, 39 assists, 80 points. In the playoffs, 15 games, 8 goals, 11 assists, 19 points. And he was 2nd in voting for the Lady Byng Trophy. So really close to the Lady Byng Trophy. He got votes basically almost every year for Lady Byng, gentlemanly player. So 78-79, 76 games, 35 goals. So that's 3 straight seasons at this point of 35 goals. 45 assists, 80 points in 11 playoff games, 5 goals and 3 assists. And of course, 79, that's the too many men on the ice penalty that cost Boston against Montreal. We talk a lot about controversial plays from hockey now, but that too many men on the ice call against Don Cherry's Bruins really, in all honesty, might be the most pivotal play in a Stanley Cup playoff game, maybe ever. It's a debate to be had at some point, right? 79-80, 74 games. He gets 40 goals that year to go with 38 assists, 78 points. And in 10 playoff games, 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points. So very consistent, right around a point per game, right around 40 goals a season. 80-81, that continues. 80 games, 37 goals, 46 assists, 83 points. Just the 3 playoff games, but he gets 3 goals in those 3 playoff games. So he's a good playoff performer. 81-82, 80 games, 36 goals, 40 assists, 76 points. In 11 playoff games, 6 goals and 8 assists for 14 points. So again, for Boston, he has 6 straight seasons where he has a minimum of 35 goals and a maximum of 41. Very reliable goal scoring. But in 82-83, that changes. 74 games, he only has 22 goals, but he also records 52 assists for 74 points. But the goal scoring drop, that's the thing that then follows from then on. In 15 playoff games, 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points. The following season for Boston, his scoring has fallen off again, 52 games, 14 goals, 16 assists, 30 points. So they call the Vancouver Canucks and they make a deal Jim Nill is traded to Boston in exchange for Peter McNab going to Vancouver. Jim Nill, the current general manager of the Dallas Stars. And at some point I could do a career video on Jim Nill. Although I don't think there's going to be all-star games mentioned and things of that nature, but there's some interesting stuff with Jim Nill. So after that trade, which at the time I thought that was really exciting because as a little kid, I mean, I saw McNab's numbers. I was collecting hockey cards. I knew what he could do. But in 13 games after that trade, just 1 goal and 6 assists for Vancouver. 3 playoff games, no points in those 3 playoff games. 84-85. His track record of being on teams that are always in the playoffs ends at 10 years, which is not the fault of Peter McNab. 76 games, 23 goals, 25 assists, 48 points. So the scoring has slowed down. No playoff games because Vancouver in the mid-80s. So what happens is his father, Max McNab, who is making the player decisions for New Jersey at this time, decides, you know what? Nepotism? I don't really care. So in what was seen as kind of a controversial move on August 20th, he signs Peter McNab to a contract with the New Jersey Devils. With New Jersey in 85-86, Peter McNab plays 71 games, 19 goals, 24 assists, 43 points. That's not bad. That's some good nepotism. Then in 86-87, 46 games. I've never said that in a video ever. 46 games in his final season of 86-87, still with the Devils, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. So the scoring falls off that last year, and he decides, all right, I'm done. But it was a decent long career, 955 games, 363 goals, 450 assists for 813 points. In 107 playoff games, 40 goals, 42 assists, 82 points. So he produced points wherever he went. And then after his retirement, he actually was a broadcaster for the Devils in 87-88. And in 95-96, he joins the broadcast team for the Colorado Avalanche in their first year. And so he has been a broadcaster for a very long time. He has been a well-respected broadcaster the whole way through. And again, he spends a lot of time in Boston, ends up in New Jersey, and now he's known for calling the Avs games. Well, for being in the studio for the Avs games, right? He is 13th on the all-time Bruins points list. He is behind Cam Neely, who's 12th, and he's ahead of Milt Schmidt, who's 14th. So he is behind a Hall of Famer on the all-time Bruins scoring list. He is ahead of a Hall of Famer. He's sandwiched right in between. But again, while he had some impressive goal scoring during his seasons in Boston, I understand why he never made it to the Hockey Hall of Fame, which I often erroneously refer to as the NHL Hall of Fame. But, it is a good long career he had. Played well, and I remember him being one of my favorite members of the Bruins. I was excited when he went to Vancouver, and then, well, it wasn't his fault. Vancouver just wasn't very good. But there you go. The career of Peter McNab, who is Vancouver born. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.